Welcome to the Heal Black Joy podcast. Hi, I'm Lola Troy, the host and curator of Heal Black Joy, the learning platform for our community to heal our Black joy with tangible and attainable programs for the mind, body, soul, relationships, and businesses. And in today's conversation, we are talking about the truth serum. Everything about the truth, honey. Men, mindset, and mood. And today, my guest is Mr. Rashon Fuller. He's a lover of chess, adventure, and a dope shoe game he has. For over 12 years, he's been educating and creating awareness around plant-based nutrition and mindset principles. Now he specializes in high vibrational wellness. He helps people transform and walk into their design or their desired destination. He has a designer of clarity cleanse transformation program. So I'm going to get him into this live. And get to talking about men, mindset, and mood. Hello, my brother. How are you
Peace.
this evening?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I cannot complain. I'm actually really, really good today.
That's what's up. I love to hear it.
I'm so excited about talking to you.
I'm excited as well. I've been looking forward to this.
I know. We've got so much to just jump into because this month is about, even though we are celebrating, I don't want people to think that I don't want to acknowledge women during International Women's Month. Because I am a woman, I'm a proud Black woman. I love us, but I think that we do conversations and have conversations about women all the time. And I think it's important not for only my Heal Black Joy tribe, but specifically the men in my Heal Black Joy tribe to get something out of these conversations. And so this month I've dedicated to having conversations with men specifically, about men specifically, and to have a truth serum series. Like, we want to know the truth about men, Black men specifically, because I think there's a great disconnect in our conversations that we have. And I like to push the envelope a little bit. So I'm excited about the lineup of men that I'm talking to. And you just happen to be one of those guys that I wanted to have a conversation with, an honest, truthful, let's push this culture forward conversation.
Lovely.
So I'm super excited about having you on with our Heal Black Joy tribe. Welcome all of our Heal Black Joy tribe that's coming in and those that will watch later on. Moods are the emotions that we feel, and a mindset is the thought and ideas that go along with the mood. Mood and mindset go hand in hand because thoughts can influence our mood. So tell me what you deal with high vibrational wellness.
Yeah. Okay.
What is that? How did you start your journey? And what is high vibrational wellness?
That's what's up. Okay, so, man, let me start with the journey part. Okay. I've been on this, I'm going to call it conscious journey, if you will.
Yeah.
For a very long time, right? Like, I didn't just get here. I could remember reading Malcolm X's autobiography, 10 years old or something like that. And deciding right then, I knew I was never going to eat pork or beef, any of that again.
Right.
But that was the first time I made changes to my diet on my own, 12 years old. And I remember coming home and just saying, I'm not doing this. I was so inspired, right? And it seemed like from there's just been so many mentors and different, like, I guess once you're seeking, certain things just kind of come into your space.
Yeah, it's like when you seek out, what's the saying when you're seeking out or when you're trying to do something, the teacher arrives.
Yeah, yeah. When the student, when the student is seeking, the teacher will appear.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's it.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's exactly kind of how it went. So even with like fasting and things like that, it started very early for me. My first experience with fasting was my best friend's father, who happened to be Jamaican. I lost
Mm.
my cousin. My cousin died. I was shattered. And my best friend came over to console me and brought his dad, who was kind of like a father figure to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he began to tell me about someone he lost when he was close to my age, and
Mm-hmm.
if it was okay if he fasted for me. And I was like, well, I had no idea what he was talking about. I was like, yeah.
Right.
And he said, would you like to do it with me? And I said, yeah. And I fasted for 24 hours with him. That was my first experience. And I liked the way that it helped me process that grieving. So, anyways, I only wanted to give that little backdrop because over the years, I developed this insatiable appetite for wellness and for all things wellness. But I needed something to distinguish and separate me from other things I was seeing in the market.
Mm.
So to just say wellness, to just say vegan, to just say plant-based, it wasn't enough separation because I don't see myself like many of those that I see. I'm not hustling. This is not
Right.
a hustle for me. It's not a trend. You know what I mean? And I don't play games with it. I'm not vegan on Instagram, but when ain't nobody looking, I'm eating this, I'm eating that. You know,
Right.
it's it's a real lifestyle for me. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm really interested in helping others as well as myself heal. So that's where the high vibrational wellness came in. It was the best way that I could establish my niche to say, here's what I represent. And what it means to me, high vibrational wellness is this. My grandma taught me that you got to be careful where you look to for your downloads. So, in other words, some of us are dependent upon gatekeepers and those who hold knowledge and doctors and ministers and nurses and pharmaceutical companies, media, of folklore, all of that for their knowledge on how to heal themselves, how to move forward. My grandmother told me, you sit still. You sit
Mm.
and you allow the creator, you will put it right in your mind. So I I view high vibrational wellness as being in alignment with universal laws that's been established by the creator. They never fail you. If
Mm.
you align yourself with universal laws, they all the time you will get the same result.
Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
when
Mm.
you go against universal laws, I don't care what you read in a book, I don't care what doctor such and such said, and to me, that's what raises your vibration. Is when you know you're in accord with the principles and laws that govern the entire universe. We have the ability to study those laws and then align ourselves with them. And when we do that, we can predict our success with 1,000% accuracy.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Failure when you try to buck them and go against them. And that's it. There's no wiggle room there, you know. So that's what high vibrational wellness means to me. I'm always hurt when I, like, a doctor, and I have three friends in particular that are doctors, okay, which has been very helpful to me, but it's taught me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's the cardiologist. He's one of the head cardiologists at Georgetown.
Okay.
Brilliant, right? So we have these conversations. I like to see how what I'm downloading measures up against them and their background and education, and we kind of see how that lines up. And what I always say to them, what's hurtful is when I see a patient go to a doctor and a doctor comes in and unloads this mega bomb. You have such and such cancer. Rock them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Passion, no real compassion, just put that on them. No real knowledge that they can heal. No, not just rock them with that knowledge, and almost immediately began talking about chemo and all these different things. And when you get hit like that, it just disintegrates your nervous system. So
Mm.
they take so much of your fight out of you right there. They lower your vibration, and they lower your ability to think. They embed you with fear. And I just have a personal thing against that. So anyways, that's what high vibrational wellness means to me. Those things that raise your vibration. Universal laws. Foods have vibrations. The people you interact with, they have vibrations. Relationships that you engage in, vibrations. You know what I mean? The water
Everything
you
has a vibration, and
vibrate.
people don't even realize that.
Absolutely. And you either lower yours or you raising it and going on a higher frequency.
So for those people that don't understand high vibration versus low vibration, can you give us a couple of examples of give me an example of like low vibrational conversation?
Gossip. Gossip. Um, low anytime that you're having conversation that does not produce any of the emotions that we consider to be positive or make us feel better, enlightened, healed, um, positive, all those things. Anytime you're engaging in frivolous conversations, talking about people,
Yeah.
anything negative, because you feel it. It lowers your energy. One phone call from the wrong individual, and you could be up here. One phone call, and all of a sudden your energy is off.
Zapped.
You can run into one person in the street, and I mean, been flying high before that, and you come across this individual, and sometimes you can't put your finger on it, but it's something about it that just brings you down or
Yeah.
neutralizes you even. So that's like an example of low vibration. Someone that will always see it, the glass as being half empty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're going to see the negative spin, the negative side. They're pessimistic. They lack faith. They're full of doubt. All those things are going to align with low vibration.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you're talking about low vibration. I want to talk about that, and I want to get to talking about your grandmother because I know how you honor your grandmother. But speaking of low vibration, there are a lot of people in our community who live their lives with a fixed mindset, with a lower vibration, like they just walk in low vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
Um, they believe that there's nothing that they need to fix, there's nothing that they need to work on, there's nothing that they need to try to grow from or understand more. They're not seeking knowledge. How does one become self-aware when it comes to low vibrational frequency? How
Yeah.
do they become self-aware so that they can understand, like, there is something better out there. There's something that I need to learn, even if it's in conversation, even if it's in my speak, my walk, my health, what I think about, my
Mm.
mindset, my mood, what I'm saying out of my mouth to myself and to others. What are those things that we could work on, or how does one become self-aware?
It's a great question. So let me start by saying this. Um, Only the fool arrives.
Mm,
The individual that just thinks they know everything or has everything figured out, um, we have to seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. And
yes.
everything about that is a growth mindset. When we build bridges, they look fixed. When we see a tree looks really fixed and stable. But what happens when an engineer who studied trees, he studied nature, building, when we see buildings downtown, which one of those does an engineer construct and doesn't have some sway in it? Some
Mm,
ability for when the wind blows, it has some ability to sway. A bridge can rock and sway. It
Yeah.
has to have some give. Some trees during hurricanes, as hard and stable as they look, some of them can bend and stretch all the way to the ground and pop back up, right? Because whenever you're inflexible and something comes to bend you, you're going to break. And that's what fixed mindset is. It's inflexible.
Mm-hmm.
So how does an individual come back from that kind of condition? I think it starts with ego. And ego is something that we are always up against. And a fixed mindset leaves an individual with a frozen, solid ego. And you have to unthaw that ego and put it in perspective, right? And this is a battle that many of us have because the ego distracts us from the real self. And you begin to get lost in duality. You think there's me, and then there's the rest of the world, and there's really no separation. So I think it begins by reducing that ego, unthawing it, and understanding that you could listen, you can learn from an ant, a bee, a grasshopper, a praying mantis, a bird. If you just sit there, you can learn from the smallest humble human being that's poor, from the rich man. It doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
you only understand that when you begin to grow into a growth mindset. And that starts with checking the ego. The ego is telling you you are this thing, right? And it's lying to you. We are all having to grow. We all have to remain open and receptive for knowledge to come in. And then we also have to have discernment because all knowledge ain't good.
Mm.
So,
All knowledge ain't good
you
knowledge.
know what I mean? So even when you got a growth mindset, everybody can't get in. Everybody can't drop their, you know what I mean? Their
Yeah.
Jews, or what they might consider their Jews. Everything's not supposed to just go in. You got to have discernment. And something could be said so nicely and structured and put together so well, and at the end of the day, it's like, nah, that's not the best part. I just want the best part. That doesn't align.
Mm.
So there's no entry. So I think this comes in time, Queen. This comes in time. And the last thing I'll say to that is we can learn a lot from women. And I know we're going to talk about that in a minute. But what I love about women is they, especially Black women, you simply have never lost being in touch with your intuition.
Mm.
And nothing brings more wisdom and guidance than our own intuition. Men, we suffer from that because ego blinds us and we don't listen and be guided by intuition. That's why women have to be like, I don't like that friend. You keep calling him a friend, but I ain't
He
not that.
not your friend.
He ain't your friend.
He ain't
And
your
we,
friend.
I mean, that's my
That's
man.
my dude.
You
That's
know what I
my
mean?
bro.
And we blinded until it happens.
Mm, mm, mm,
And
mm.
I told you the vibes was just, but intuition.
But that is why we have to have these conversations, because where there's this thought process that Black men and Black women don't know how to talk to each other and don't know how to communicate and don't know how to come together. That's what I love about having these conversations with men, because we can learn from one another. We can learn from one another if we let the ego down, if we release the ego, because a lot of times we're showing up as our unhealed selves because of the ego, right?
Facts.
And if we're vulnerable enough to have these conversations in spaces of honesty and in spaces of love and out of love and respect, we can learn so much from each other.
Facts. Facts.
And speaking of queens, I know that I'm super excited about having this conversation about your grandmother that you call Nana.
Hmm.
You honor her in your content. A lot of your content on TikTok, you talk about your Nana. and I was watching one of the videos and I was just smiling. I felt her presence through what you were saying about her and the things that she imparted into you. Tell us about your Nana, and what is something specifically that she shared with you in your life that's made you a better man?
Man, sheesh. That's all order right there.
I know, I
Uh,
know.
Man, I don't even know where to begin. Um, my best friend, my mentor, um, there's no one like her. She was amazing. So, first of all, plant-based for over 50 plus years. Let me start with that. Healer. Now we hear this term healing. It's become a loose term, right? Um, I think everybody that get a few herbs, all of a sudden they're a healer. And
Mm.
knocking that, she was a healer.
Mm.
I watched her get a phone call, and she had a circle of friends. And I watched the phone would ring, and she would get a phone call, and they would say, "I got such and such here, and he has lupus, cancer, and doctors don't know what else to do with him. And can you help him?
Mm.
Bring that brother over here," she would say. And then she would go and clean her personal bed off and put a stranger in her bed. And she would go in that kitchen and go to work.
Mm.
A combination of juicing and herbs. And I could see her downloading. I can see her feeling what is needed. And listen, I'm telling you, I watched individuals come in there all but carried and walk out of there healed. High vibrational.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
it
Mm.
was. It's just who she was. I watched her do workshops with Dr. Africa, some well-known herbalists. Dr. Africa, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, and I can go down the line. I mean, real notable individuals. She was on panels with them. At the end of those workshops, with all of these mega personalities, they would crowd around, man, and just would be asking her questions.
That wisdom.
She was bad, and she wasn't meek and humble. She was a firecracker.
Yeah.
She didn't transition until she was 95 years old. And weeks before she transitioned, she was outside working in her garden. Never no high blood pressure, no diabetes, no dementia, no arthritis. I don't know of any ailments that she had. No cancer, none of that.
Mm. 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 Mm.
So, anyways, I can go on and on. I just loved it. She
Yeah.
the most beautiful, beautiful person. And she did not play games. When she was healing people, you couldn't even give her no money. She wouldn't let you buy the stuff that she made, um, the juices and stuff from, but she wouldn't take any. She was so pure, but she never wanted for anything. She never wanted for anything. She was constantly taken care of. So, in terms of what I learned from her, things that she taught me, I would probably say the number one thing that she taught me was who I am. She really helped me understand who I am. And when I was at times when I was kind of lost, at times when I was um striving to find my way, she had this way of saying, "Do you know who you are?" And she would read me. And she'd run it down. Blah, 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 blah. That's who you are. Ha! That I felt 12 feet tall.
Mm.
I felt like there was nothing on this planet I couldn't do.
You know what that reminds me of? I've been watching Kanye West's documentary.
Mm.
And his mother, Donda West, you know, she's one of the ancestors like your Nana. There were a couple of scenes in his documentary that, even from his creative genius, there was this gracefulness and this elegance in how she spoke to him, and the things that she said to him that create that you literally can see why he's where he is right now. And I think because of her transition, that's the issue in maybe what he's dealing with his mental health.
Yeah.
Because she was such a solid, strong, anchored force for him. And the things that she said to him, it was never this unwavering style of support. She spoke with him from a place of love, a place of support. She surrounded him with this knowing and assurance that she never ever thought that he was not going to make it. She always felt like he was going to make it. She even rapped one of his rhymes with him. And it brought tears to my eyes, because what it made me think about as a mother specifically, about how we speak to our children, what we're imparting into our children, and believing in our children with unwavering faith, not from a fear. Like, well, I don't know, you know, you trying to do this, but I ain't never done it. I don't know nobody's ever done it. You know, we that low vibrational conversation that our grandparents and, you know, some people have experienced in their life. She didn't have that. And then that's what that reminds me of your grandmother.
Absolutely.
The downloads that she got. Like,
we would lay across the bed and study biology books. Like, my approach to, like, plant-based nutrition, for example, my approach is from a cellular intelligence perspective. We lay across the bed and study carbon and nitrogen, and study how a plant could pull nitrogen out the air and break the triple bonds, and nothing else could do that. How a plant could create these beautiful carbohydrates and these masterful sugars that only the plant could create. Only the plant could create the amino acids that we know as protein. And we would laugh about why someone would go to an animal and get this second-handed protein when the plants were producing these beautiful amino acids, more complete than any other place you want to get it. And we would lay across the bed and look at the components of those amino acids. And she taught me how to go layers in when it comes to that. Like, you got to understand how these, because the body is chemicals. So food, and understanding those components and how you combine in foods will, you know, help you understand how it's going to impact you once you consume those foods. So the things that she was sharing with me was just invaluable, and I walk with it for, you know, the rest of my days, man. And it's a big part of my work, you know. It's why, again, I feel like some of the things I'm doing is so original, because she was original. She wasn't learning from nobody. She was in a zone, and she was channeling.
And you can only do that from a high vibrational level.
You do that. I think many of us are capable of doing that.
Absolutely.
You know? I think some of us come this way and we just healers. Some people come and they have certain gifting, but I think all of us have the ability to just go higher. You know?
Yeah. I want to shout out a couple of people. I know Tanya Healing Graham. She's on. She is a healer. She is one of the healers that you're speaking of. Nice. Peace to you, my queen. I love you. You know that. And on your journey, I'm praying for you. Everybody, we need to send our love and healing thoughts to my sister Tanya that's in this live. I got some questions for you. From some of our Heal Black Joy tribe. Perry Simone, shout out to you. She says, do you feel as though being plant-based helps you exhibit more self-control than others? It's a really good question.
More self-control than others who are not plant-based?
Yes.
Um, I would have to say yes, absolutely.
Can you explain that? Because I know me and my father had this conversation, and my father is a very well-read man, and he talks about how when people eat meat, and he's a meat eater, but he talked about meat eaters, like if you have an aggressive animal, like an aggressive cow, and they kill it in distress, you've got distressed meat. And then you take that into your body, and now you have this aggressiveness, you know, to you because you've actually taken in an aggressive animal.
Well, you just answered it. You just answered it. I mean, animals have spirits, emotions, energy, and especially the way some of these animals are slaughtered. I mean, what do you think happens to a chicken when you just bang him over the head with something or break his neck and, you know, there's no compassion in it, or he sees it coming and all that fear is inside of him before you kill him? Like, or the torturing of some of the spaces that they're in, and you know they pack all these chickens in real close so that the meat can be tender so they can't move. Like, the trauma that these animals are dealing with is real trauma. They're real things with real emotions. Anybody that's ever had a pet, you understand that those are real emotions. So can you compare that, and then you consume this? Now you add hormones to it. You add parasites to it, because anything that's got blood got parasites. You add the pesticides in the crops that the thing is eating. You add the GMO corn that is fed to them. You can just go down the line. You add all these elements to it, and then you compare that with a plant. And which one of us are going to be more chemically balanced? That's all we're really saying. We could say calm, but what you're really talking about is being chemically balanced. We're
Right.
talking about chemicals and hormones.
Right.
Now, you know, you could just, you know, you can weigh those two. It doesn't take a whole lot of depth to weigh those two options and see which one of those are probably going to leave you more balanced.
Mm. And when you're talking about balance, and we're talking about men, mindset, and mood,
Yeah.
because that's our subject for tonight. Um, what state of mind do you think collectively Black men are in right now?
Oh, man. I think to do this justice, I would probably have to break it down into two categories. And I got to be honest, I can only speak for one of the categories. I would
Okay.
have to say high vibrational men and low
Low
vibrational.
vibrational men.
I don't really want to speak for low vibrational. I do want to say that I'm available for my brothers, man. I'm always trying to lift them up. So there's not a judgment standpoint.
Right,
But
right.
some of my brothers have just not matured, and some of them are not operating at their potential. So I don't want to really speak to that group. We got some growing to do. But to my high vibrational Black men, I can speak to that. Fed up. That's the overall energy. We're tired of the treatment. We're tired of all of the racism, all of the you you know the social injustice and the inequalities that we experience in the workplace and all those elements, right? So there's an energy there that's saying, nah, not no more,
Not no more.
not no more.
Yeah.
The other element that I'm loving is um there is this, how can I say this? There is this energy to build at a higher level. So what I'm observing amongst men is we're beginning to look at family different.
Mm.
We're beginning to look at what it means to be a father different, and understanding what we're raising and what we're trying to contribute from a father standpoint. Understanding and I think men are also starting to understand this. We see what Black women are doing. Black women are ahead of us. Let's be real. It ain't even close. And I'm in Atlanta, and I could tell you right now, I'm blown away at what I see black women doing.
Yeah.
Blown away. And anybody that says anything different, you tripping. Y'all are killing it out here. And it's not accident. You're organized, you're structured. So there's a joke amongst me and some of the brothers that I run with in my circle. If we're talking about an ideal or something we want to do, one of us will lean over and say, well, is there any women involved?
Right.
And if they know, like if they had a meeting and stuff, we was at Starbucks and we was meeting and we was putting this together, but was there any women there?
Right.
Because if it was no black women there, then chances are all y'all did was talk.
Right. It's not
And
getting done. It's not executed.
nothing about happening because that's not, you know what I mean? So that's where I think we need to grow. And I think that we need to, and I'm talking overall, I think we need to get stronger. And that's what black men are understanding. We need to get stronger to assume the role so we can provide that kind of security and be the kings that we were destined to be.
Right.
But I think we've taken some blows. We've taken some blows. So I don't want to say that we're just behind and it has no reason. Like there in, you know, as you moving through some of these societies, there's some things that black men have to deal with and things that have been structurally put in place that have been tough, and we've had to navigate that. And you know, so and the last thing I want to say, I have to mention this. I think black men have to get better, and I think we're starting to get better at dealing with the trauma. And we don't talk like women talk. We don't share like women share. We do this stuff. We don't have workshops and work groups, and we don't get on the phone, and you know, we have conversation, but we don't talk about the deep stuff sometimes. We're not quite ready to be vulnerable. And as a result, we hold this stuff. And it becomes so toxic that we are still getting very, very sick. We are still leading in heart disease and high blood pressure, tons of erectile dysfunction. His brother's 30 years old with erectile dysfunction. The numbers are crazy. Stressed out. And some of them are doing well financially. That ain't even the point. The point is they're not managing these toxic emotions and things that's going on. We don't have no outlet, no way to get those out. We have to do better with that.
Absolutely. I want to shout out the Start Naked Truth. He's a brother that I interviewed a few months back in my Ode to Black Men. He actually has one of those groups where he comes together and has the truth serum conversation with Black men specifically. I would love to connect you guys because I think you guys are a part of the same tribe. I mean, we're all a part of the same tribe, but just high vibrational conversation and trying to push our culture forward. There was another question that she had, and she says, how do you feel society sways the male mindset?
How does society? Well, a couple things. I think there's this concept of materialism that's super dangerous. I think that somehow your manhood is directly related to your car, your chain, your jewelry, your clothes, your shoes, your that type of stuff, right?
Your performance.
Your performance. You know, and I think that measurement is so incredibly destructive. We're not measuring it based on our creator. Like, what were you designed to function like or do? We are trying to base it on low base things in this world. And I think that comes from society trying to say what a man is and what a man should look like and what a man should act like. And we're trying to fit that and all this competition, and it just gets destructive fast. And I think society plays a very strong role in that because they depict the image, whether it's movies, TV, music. It's hard. Like, think about when you're watching movies, sometimes it's so hard for me to think about a movie that depicts a character and I'm like, yeah, that's someone I could strive to want to be like. Like create a character that is so elevated and lofty. You just like, man, that's what I'm trying to grow to. It's always got to just be the drug dealer or abusive or just constantly something that is not a man reaching his highest potential and truth and then walking into it, you know.
That's why
So
representation is super duper important in those spaces, because, and not only that, not only just representation, but representation of our people, but those people that are representing us also need to understand their own personal identity. Because if they understand their own personal identity, they understand the value of who they are. So when they're representing us in those spaces, when they're having those conversations, it's like, nope, you know what? I'm tired of watching the slave movie, the slave story. I'm tired of the drug dealer story. Like, there's more stories that we can tell about Black people.
yeah. And I think to your point, that's an excellent point. And that's where I think we have to continue on this trend of getting more into positions of ownership.
Mm.
Get more into positions where we are having that kind of creative control. And that's where I think we're going to be able to implement our voice, our creative stories, our content, and be able to kind of take it to that higher level, you know. But as long as someone else is controlling the narrative, dictating the pace, it's going to be very difficult for us to take our organic content and our image of how we would represent ourselves, because we feel like we can't get it to the larger audience. And we got to get past that. We got to get past that. We got to realize, even if we got to start a little more humble. I like what Jordan Peele is doing. I think there's some, you know, there's some um, directors, Black women and men, that's beginning to bring some beautiful imagery to the forefront.
Yeah.
So it's happening. It's definitely happening.
It's definitely happening. And
Yeah,
when you said ownership, what
yeah,
that's saying to me is, I don't want to come into the conversation at your table. I want to have my own table.
that's it. That's it.
And that's where that personal identity is super duper important, because now you see value in yourself. You know who you are, and you know what you're capable of accomplishing, because you know what you're passionate about, you know what you want, you know what you need, and you know who you are. And those things are so important in ownership.
Yep.
It's super duper important. Oh my God, this conversation is so good, you guys. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Um, what do you think about when you think about Black men and connecting the dots to their mindset and to their mood? How do we connect those dots? Like, is it not only what you're putting in your body is that's affecting your mood? It's societal things that's affecting your mood, because like you were saying, the low vibration comes from, a lot of it is just what's been programmed, what we see that's out there, what we're taking into our ear gates and our eye gates, and the things that we're seeing in social media. Like, people are on their phones, they're programmed to have a short attention span, so they're on their phones, and everything is pushing this agenda of get things done in a quick time frame. It's not like we sit down and read books anymore, or sit down and be in alignment and sit still, like your grandmother said, and get a download, a direct divine download. We're so busy, joining and co-signing what somebody else is telling us.
Yeah.
How do we connect men, mindset, and mood?
Yeah. Well, I think it's already connected, right? So again, gotta understand, when we're talking about the human body, this electromagnetic vehicle, we're talking about electricity and chemicals.
Mm.
We're talking about electricity and chemicals. You can't have an emotion, any emotion, which of course leads to a mood. You can't have any emotion without a chemical being released. So if you're happy, that means dopamine or serotonin was released. Okay, so every single emotion, no matter what it is, can be taken back to a physical chemical being released, whether in the brain or the body, and that's how the body functions. So when you eat something, you are definitely eating a food that has chemicals, a chemical structure, a molecular structure, and it also has vibrational energy to it. So clearly there is a connection. Let me give you a clear example. Let me give just a simple example.
Okay.
What I deal with I coach men. So I deal with a lot of men, and I personally hear what some of their issues are, right? You know what a huge issue is? Not enough sleep. And let me tell you what happens when you don't get enough sleep. See, the brain accumulates toxic waste throughout the course of the day. They call it brain cell poop, but it's literally a buildup of toxins that build up in the brain. When you go to sleep and you rest, the body drains these toxins down through the kidneys and eventually out of the body. When you don't reach REM or rapid eye movement and you don't reach that level of deep sleep, when you feel tired, like, if you have been up all night, you feel tired, almost like a hangover, that's because you never cleared the toxic waste out of your brain. It's still there. So all kind of things comes out of that, of course. So a lot of what's happening can be simple things like not getting enough rest, drinking alcohol, eating foods with tons of preservatives in them. You have no idea what you're eating. Drinking water. I know a lot of men still drink tap water, or drinking water out of plastic containers and leaving it in the car so it heats up and all of this BPA and chemicals get into your water and you're drinking this stuff. The body is sensitive. It don't take much.
Yeah.
So you got, not to mention, we got all this waste going on in the body. You got a lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is striving to pull the toxins out of your body. It's trapping it inside of the lymph nodes. You got visceral fat cells that's also pulling toxic metals and stuff and storing them in the visceral fat cells. Now the body's waiting for an opportunity for the blood to get thinner than the lymphatic fluid so it can drain. It's called drainage. We can't drain. The body's working. It's doing what it's doing. But now you're not in a position to even drain all of this toxic waste. You're a walking chemical dump. What kind of mood can a person like that possibly be in? You're not high vibrational, full of toxicity. Acidosis and toxicity. That's what you're going to suffer from. And that's going to immediately lead to chronic illnesses.
And that's just the food. That we're not even talking about the environmental things that are affecting us. We're not talking about the society things that are affecting us. We're not talking about it's just you're just talking about that one specific thing that can affect so many things, in our bodies physically.
Absolutely.
And then you put trauma to sandwich that with some trauma.
Unreleased
Trauma
that we just holding on to. Absolutely.
that we've normalized because we've had it for so long. Our baseline is walking trauma.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now the thing is, that's why I emphasize we can heal, because as daunting as that sounds, if we just took simple steps, we could move toward healing. And when I say simple stuff, I would say changing simple things in your diet. You ain't got to go all the way in. You ain't got to go all the way super plant-based. Even simple changes. Get more fresh vegetables and fruit into your diet. Stop drinking a bunch of sugared sweet teas and, you're poisoning yourself.
Yeah.
And add some meditation to your regimen. Add some quiet time where you sit still and you allow yourself to get in touch with who you actually are. We're moving so fast that we don't take a minute to sit down and just settle in and get identified with who the self actually is. Get to know yourself, get to understand who you are right now. Because every day we're going through new experiences. You're not the same as you was yesterday. You're not the same as you was 5 years ago. But do you know who you are now? Have you studied and understand who you've grown and evolved into and where you're going? That takes study. It takes shadow work, inner work, which is the most tedious and difficult work to do, but we're not going anywhere without it. So mindfulness now has to be practiced.
I'm glad you said that. And I know we're like at the last part of our conversation. But what I'm noticing is that people are using social media as escapism. They don't want to deal with themselves and practice mindfulness, but they want to practice escapism. So they're just scrolling, they're looking at everybody else's life, not want to be checked into their own life.
Right.
And when I talk to my women that I coach, it's just like you got to tap back into who you are. And and take a break from social media, because what social media will do is it will have you tapping into not reality. You're tapping into this social non-realistic world that people are showing you their avatar, their representative. They want to show you the best version of themselves, but it's a well put together ego packed version of themselves, where it's not peeling back those layers where you really see that true, vulnerable, authentic version of that person or yourself. You
Right.
could be presenting your avatar. That's what we're doing. We're presenting our avatar on social media. We don't want to say, hey, look at me, I'm a failure. I need to work on some things right now, right? They want to present their best self. So hashtag goals, hashtag couple goals, hashtag, fitness goals, hashtag every kind of goal. But on the inside, we can't even sit with ourselves for 5 minutes. What do you say to those people?
It was a quote. I don't remember who originated this quote. Might have been Einstein. But basically, the quote said, all of the problems of human or of mankind, all of the problems of mankind can be summed up in a simple statement. It's his inability to sit still with himself for 5 minutes. That was his quote. So basically, as the only thing that exists is the present. The future, 3 seconds from now, don't exist yet.
Right.
3 seconds ago, it's not a real realm. You can't go there. The only place that's reality that you can operate in is right now. Many of us don't want now because it's painful.
Woo!
So social media, TV, and all these other games that we play is the perfect, most beautiful distraction to keep us from having to face the pain of right now.
People don't like uncomfortability.
I don't like that. And that
Mm-mm.
trauma you talk about, it exists in the now. See, when you get still, that stuff is there. You can run from it, but all that trauma we talking about, see, when you get still and you turn all that stuff off, it's right there. And you got a choice. Either you're going to address it and deal with it, or you're going to keep running. But you will not sit in that now, in that space, and not have to confront all that's happening with, your being. It's there.
It's there. You can't run from it.
You can't run from
It's
it.
there. I like to ask people this question because I created this space of Heal Black Joy because I'm very passionate about our community. I want us to smile. I want us to get our joy back. I think our joy is there. We just have to seek it out in spaces. We have to seek it out every single day. And I understand that we have some trauma that we've dealt with, but I also understand that we got to deal with the truth of the thing, right? And on the other side of the truth, once you deal with the truth of a thing, and you can get in those uncomfortable spaces, and like you said, deal with those things, then joy is on the other side of that. Because once you deal with the truth, you can find joy, and you can find peace, and you can find you can live a high vibrational life. So I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to start asking all my guests this question is, what does Heal Black Joy mean to you? If you were thinking about healing Black joy, what does it mean to you, and what would your grandmother say?
So let me tell you what my grandmother would say. No one has suffered like us.
Mm,
No one is more worthy of joy than us.
mm,
And so that's what I would say. And the thing about suffering is this is the most painful part about it. So much of it is self-inflicted because we don't know how to put ourselves in a space of joy and a space of healing. And we don't know how incredible that really feels. And I think if we did, it would be the goal instead of some of this other stuff we're chasing. So that's what would come to mind. Just I want to spend more time and energy highlighting what Black joy actually should look and feel like. So more people aspire to that.
yeah.
About the trauma and stuff like that. But it's like, what about your best moments? Have you learned how to just be grateful and experience in fullness the great moments that we have all the time? Some of us don't. Do
Yeah.
you celebrate? Do we know how to operate in joy?
Do we understand that it's our birthright to have it?
Facts. 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 So that's my thought. I think I love that you have made that your battle cry. And even if you didn't open up your mouth to explain what it is, it's so self-explanatory. And I just want to salute you for the work that you're doing and the way that you're raising vibrations by even bringing that to the forefront. It says a lot about who you are, that you've made that the centerpiece of your movement. So I salute you, Queen.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. I really, really appreciate that coming from you.
Absolutely.
I know that you have a program that you teach, and I want you to talk to us about the designer of Clarity Cleanse Transformation Program, so that our Heal Black Joy team can tap into that and find out more about that. Because if people are trying to start a plant-based lifestyle, I would love to direct them towards you, because I know that that's your passion, and you know more about it than I do. I'm working my way. I'm one of those people that's working my way to it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
yeah.
there. I'm almost there. I'm
That's what's
almost
up.
I'm almost there. I've only eaten fish twice this year.
That's what's up. It's about steps, Queen. It's about just as you grow and as you learn, you just take steps. I'm more about moderation than I am about extremism. Now I've been at it for a long time, so I'm pretty extreme in terms of,
Right.
but I'm extreme and I know I can make that a lifestyle. If I thought that my extremism would make me keep falling back into old habits, then I would cut it back some.
Yeah.
And I did get here in steps. I didn't just jump all the way to where I'm at. So be kind to yourself. I, like I would even love to hear you even say that differently, because every step that you make in the right direction is just mad positive.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
it's one step, a half a step, it doesn't matter. You're still making progress.
Yeah.
And so a little bit about Clarity Cleanse. I call it the Clarity Cleanse transformation. The objective of the Clarity Cleanse is to hit the reset button. And this is even for someone who's already plant-based, someone who's already pretty much eating a pretty clean diet, or even someone who's alkaline plant-based,
Mm-hmm.
all raw. Because I'm probably about 60% raw.
Okay.
And I'm definitely alkaline plant-based. Like I don't do soy. Like I'm all in. So what this is designed to do is to create a position where you can shift your paradigm, right? So what we do is we address the holistic self. We address the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. It involves fasting, because that's the first step to me. If you don't cleanse the temple, it's going to be kind of difficult to really begin to address the other elements that's going on in the body. You
Right.
got to clean. A clean vessel can channel and express things a whole lot better than something that is polluted. So the first order of the day is we go after cleaning the vessel. And then in the program, I literally build in mindset principles. It's a 21-day program. So I do Zooms every day, and I mean, I go all in. I got these PowerPoint presentations, and I deal with mindset, what do you call it? I deal with mind traps, mindset traps, cognitive distortions, and those things that come up in the mind that steals our joy and steals our will to build and go to a higher vibration. So sometimes we don't even recognize what those are. I point them out and I address them, and I show clear examples of how this comes into the mindset. So basically it's fasting, it's dealing with the mindset principles, and then I actually implement a plant-based regimen to show you how do you shop for food, understanding food, like how do you know GMO from hybrid foods? How do you choose the right kind of fruit that has seeds in them?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you shop at? How do you understand the ingredients that's on these, on the back of these foods? And most of all, how do you prepare the foods? Like if you want to live a plant-based lifestyle, how do you do it? When everywhere you go, like there's nowhere for you to eat. Everywhere you go, there's something with meat or something with fried foods. Like, how do you do this? I don't
Mm-hmm.
have time. I'm busy. So I literally implement and show you how you live a plant-based lifestyle, how you shop for the food, how do you prepare, how do you eat, how do you make sure you're getting everything you need. So basically that's what the Clarity Cleanse consists of. It's literally taking you from where you're at and just doing the total reset. On the other side of it, you should hear the testimonials. On the other side, like everything from losing weight to getting off of meds, high blood pressure balancing out, blood sugar levels balancing out. Like it's amazing. It's amazing. And I give you the keys so you can maintain your gains.
Good. That's awesome. How do we connect our Heal Black Joy tribe with you if someone wanted to start doing the Clarity Cleanse Transformation Program?
So what I can do is I'll send you a link, and because right now it's if you hit the link in my bio, it's there.
Okay.
But I haven't announced. I just finished one. I haven't announced when the new one is just yet. That's the only thing that's missing. So I'll send you the updated link, if you want to share it that way, or if they just if they hit the link in my bio, you can access it from there. And if nothing else, I'll have your email. So when I announce the actual date that the new cleanse is coming, then I can, send you a correspondence.
And I just pinned your Instagram so that people can go to your Instagram and go to your link.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. I appreciate that.
I'm so like full from this conversation. Like I got to take a moment to download and process all the gems that you dropped on tonight. I mean, you dropped gems from just the story of a mentor in the gentleman that was your friend's
Yeah.
father, who offered you some advice about how to deal with trauma and asked you, could he fast on your behalf? Like, something in that story was so powerful to me as a woman, who wants to be encouraged by having those conversations with Black men, talking to a young Black child. I think
Yeah.
something about that is so dope and so needed and so necessary, especially in today's time. The conversation about your grandmother, the healer that she is, that she was, and that she is through you.
Yeah.
Um, the fact that she allowed people to lay in her bed, that tells me who your grandmother is.
Yeah.
The fact that you say that she didn't ask for anything, that tells me the legacy of who your grandmother is. You
Absolutely.
know, so I'm full from this conversation. I thank you for your passion. I thank you for your expertise. I thank you for um, just you coming on and sharing with the Heal Black Joy Tribe, having this conversation with me. I think it has been transformative. I know my tribe has enjoyed you being on. They've been in the comments like, he's dropping gems. Like, so this has just been a wonderful conversation, man. I
Yeah.
really have enjoyed it.
So I want to say this to you. Um, I know the energy that goes into building our tribe and our collective, and I know we become protective of it, and we only want to bring into it energy that we align with and that we trust. And I'm honored that you trusted me to speak into your collective, and that is not missed by me. So thank you for extending that. Thank you for the trust, and I'm honored that you extended that. And um, I hope that I um, handled it with the kind of care that is important to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know when we had our Zoom call, I was just like, oh yeah, this we good. We good. When you have that conversation and you know that person is a tribe member, when I say tribe, I'm talking about we speak the same language.
Yeah,
We got the same, we share the same passion for our people and our culture, our community, and we're trying to push that envelope, you know, in helping us and helping our people. We speak the same language. So it's just like, it's like when I got on the Zoom call, I was like, okay, I just met my brother.
I love it. I love it.
So thank you. I am you call me, I'm there. You just let me know whatever it is that you need, whatever I can do to facilitate spreading your platform and your passion, what you're passionate about. Let me know, and I'm there for you.
I love it. And likewise, I will do the same on my end. Let's push each other. And
Absolutely.
a worthy agenda, it's a worthy message, and it needs to be heard. It needs to be put um, out there as much as we possibly can. And so I'm in alignment with you. I'll be pushing you as well.
Absolutely. I thank you again. And to my Heal Black Joy Tribe, thank you guys for tuning in as you always do every Thursday. You can always connect with us here on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, and now on our new Heal Black Joy YouTube channel. If you haven't checked this out tonight, it will be loaded up on our Heal Black Joy YouTube channel on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again. Y'all have a good night.
Okay, good night.